Hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike, I am the Nightwing, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. Now, what is there to really go over with FlyQuest? Yes, FlyQuest have been going through hell and back for the year of 2019. You would think that after their blunders in 2018, they would come back with an obvious vengeance. Now, their last shot at making worlds is the regional qualifier, which is called the Gauntlet, in which Cloud9 was famously known for obviously going through the Gauntlet, in which where they always made it out, and their final matches of the Gauntlet still to this day have always been 3-1. They 3-1 TL. They ended up 3-1 Immortals, and they later on ended up 3-1 over CLG, and then they 3-0'd over TSM. So kind of a consistent track record for them to really dominate in the last few rounds of the Gauntlet. And with Cloud9 not in the Gauntlet because them and TL are already auto qualified for Worlds, and they had basically played out the finals last week with TL winning, this is going to be a different beast of a Gauntlet. We're going to have to see different teams fight their way to make it to Worlds. Now you have TSM, CLG, CG, and FlyQuest, but today we're just going to be talking about FlyQuest. I'll be previewing the Gauntlet, I think in a couple more days, and you'll have all of my thoughts and opinions on that. But let's just talk about FlyQuest. So if we kind of scale it back towards the beginning part of the year, FlyQuest was arguably right behind TSM, Team Liquid, and Cloud9. People said that they were the fourth best team. I really didn't believe that too much, because every single better team than them, when they started coming online, was coming online way too late. All of the split, those better teams with the better players all failed. 100 Thieves, CLG, Optic failed, everybody failed, and then FlyQuest got to obviously boost from that. They seem to always do well when the teams with better players are underperforming. That's always kind of been what they are. This even started when High and Balls and Elimination and Altec were on FlyQuest. They were doing really well when the other rosters had much better players. It's just always something that they do. I understand consistently good players can make a dent and be very good and obviously rack up wins, but at a certain point, you know eventually when those better teams get better and get more synergized and more cohesive, then they obviously overdo FlyQuest. And we saw that happen with the coming into the summer split. The last match they played in spring was against TL. They got destroyed, obviously against a much better team. They come in to the split. They obviously want to, downgrade JJ to the academy team, and then they want to promote Wadid to the starting lineup. Then right after that, they go through visa issues because Wadid had literally just gotten off of Rogue. They did a trade. You have to get a visa for him, and then they still have to play with JJ. JJ was literally the worst support in the LCS. I don't know how he went from somewhat decent to just the complete garbage. Then we saw Viper, and in one of the little promotional videos before a FlyQuest game, he talked about that they were not really playing well together. They don't really trust each other, and you could see that in their gameplay. You had a lot of the players just doing completely crazy things. They were like, I don't even know how to explain it. One person was doing something completely different than what the other people on the team even knew what this person was doing. Like, let's just say Viper was split pushing top, and let's say they randomly told him, hey, keep split pushing, we're gonna obviously get it to the point where you can keep split pushing. So he'd be split pushing, then Pole Belter would overextend, die, and then right after that, Viper would end up dying because they would collapse on Pole Belter and then immediately translate to Viper, so his split push is now nullified. Then Wild Turtle and JJ were constantly always behind, and they never had a good plays around the map. Santorin looked literally invisible. He went back to his old TSM ways where he was just invisible after being a really good jungler in spring. It was really just honestly sad to see that he had actually fallen that far. Remember, this is the same Santorin that was invisible for a lot of the times he was actually on teams in the NALCS, and when he used to play on things like H2K and Huma. Yes, remember, Santorin used to play on Huma, if you guys have been watching for that long, when EU Challenger was a thing. So yeah, Santorin went back to his old TSM ward bot days, and then he looked invisible. He was playing really bad. Then when they got Wadid, things looked a little bit better. You know, they got wins over Cloud9. They were able to get a few wins up to the point of where, like, if they were able to keep up a win streak, they would have been able to make it to the playoffs. But at last, they lost their few games, and then they even lost to Echo Fox in their, you know, very last game of the split. And they have good players around their roster. This theoretically should be a 4th place team. You have a Wild Turtle is good. I thought he's had a pretty good year. Wadid, I thought he's been a massive improvement over JJ. It's really weird. They're doing the whole Cloud9 approach where you don't really have to have imports, because Santorin, that does not count as an import. If I'm, you know, not too sure about that. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But Santorin, I'm pretty sure, does not count as an import slot. So they're pretty much just running the whole roster without imports. Pole Belter has looked very bad all year, coming off of winning 2 titles on Liquid to looking like what he looks like now. Obviously, that just goes to show you what a super team can make a player not in a super. Basically, when they were considered a super team, he wasn't considered a superstar mid laner. He's never been considered a superstar mid laner. So this is what he on average looks like when he's not around really good players like Doublelift and Xmithy and Impact. So with that being said, do you think that FlyQuest can make the Gauntlet run and go to Worlds as North America's third seed? That's going to be a really, really tough test. I mean, you got to go through Clutch, who literally almost beat TL, who almost beat CLG. So they would have to beat a team that almost beat our best team. That is, like, tough in itself. I know people always like to meme on Clutch and go, well, they can only play Kiana and Rumble. To be fair, if FlyQuest lets that go through, they're going to be losing some games to Kiana and Rumble. Then you have to factor in, people have to realize this, if you can't play around that, that's just free wins for them. But they are much better than Kiana and Rumble. I really don't like that in general. I mean, there were games where they beat TSM where they weren't even playing Kiana and Rumble. So what are you really saying at the end of the day? Make sure you guys make sure you're watching the games properly and not just, you know, believing everything casters say or just reading what Reddit says, because sometimes, you know, obviously people on Reddit clearly know how real life interacts because they clearly go outside, right? So you have FlyQuest coming to play, and I don't really know if they can really do anything. I could easily see them getting knocked out in the first round, and it's been a very, very bad year for them, per se. This is something that they always do anyway. I'm not even surprised that they do this. They did this when they first joined the league. They did this last year. They're doing it this year. Really good springs, bad summers, maybe turn it around. It's just not happening this time around. I think that they have finally just met their match. Even if they do upset Clutch, how do they beat CLG? If they somehow manage to upset CLG, how would they even beat TSM? Like, TSM was, when they were bad, TSM were bad, but they were nowhere near as bad as FlyQuest. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So, yeah, I think that the clock will strike midnight for them. Well, it already has. They didn't make playoffs. So, I think that they might bypass Clutch, and it's going to be a very, very close series. Mistakes all around the map, back and forth mistakes. I think that if they do get past Clutch, they're not getting past CLG, and I think their year is over. So, can FlyQuest make the Gauntlet run? Not even close. But hey, those are just basic predictions. They've had a lot of time to obviously scrim and see what the teams have been playing. They might have some secret scrim partners. They might be scrimming their academy team. Most teams have taken are off. You know, now if you don't make playoffs or Worlds, the teams are obviously, you know, just taking the rest of the year off. There's just not much else to do, personally. So I don't really know even if they're getting sufficient practice at the end of the day to really make sure they get themselves to Worlds. And I don't really feel like I want them at Worlds. I feel like they will be a team that would literally collapse at Worlds. Like, yes, even if they go through the play-in stage, they're better than the play-in stage players. But when you get to the best of fives and you get to the group stage, it's a whole different beast. I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing signing out. Way of Life Esports is out. Peace.
Hi there, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.